This is the MoYu Super RS3M 2022. MoYu's newest flagship cube, I guess, because they haven't released the Waylon cube whatsoever this year. I guess that counts. This cube has 3 versions: the standard version, the Maglev version, and the Ballpoint version, which is the version I have right now. I didn't want to buy all 3 because of how much it would be, but I bought this version, the Ballpoint version, to test out the, I guess, the most expensive cube they had, to get a feel for what it would be. But I kind of regret doing that. I'll tell you why later. Anyways, the price for these versions: for the standard version, it's $10. For the Maglev version, it's $15. And for this version, the Ballpoint version, it's $20. Which is actually a nice, like, pricing system. If only GAN would learn that and, like, not release non-magnetic cubes at, like, exorbitant prices. Yeah, but MoYu's price tiering system is honestly really good, kind of, for this cube. And let's get into, like, the feel for a bit. So out of the box, it was really fast and, like, kind of uncontrollably fast when I tried it out. It also has a slight sandy feel out of the box, and the corner cutting wasn't pretty good out of the box, but that was probably because it was on some tight tensions. It was also, like, really loud. When I unboxed it, I was outside and it didn't really seem too loud to me, but when I got back inside the room, it was actually, like, really noticeable. Now, as I set it up, it got a little bit quieter, but it's still kind of really loud, so I wouldn't really say it's the quietest cube in any way. Yeah, the outer surface of the cube is matte plastic. I heard from different videos that it was supposed to be glossy plastic, but for whatever reason, it's not. I thought they were gonna do it, and then when I checked it out, I don't know, it kind of felt really weird compared to, like, the other cubes, but I think it's kind of wearing out right now. Like, it's starting to get a bit more glossy and stuff, so yeah, at least it's starting to go away. But when I got it originally, it just felt really weird and, like, unlike my RS3M, which is actually a bit less frosted than that. So the corner cutting is pretty good. It can do 45 degrees, although with a little bit more effort, but just at 45 degrees. Everything else is actually quite effortless, and so it's pretty good. So when you're probably not gonna, like, corner cut 45 degrees in a solid, so I wouldn't expect that, but it would just make it easier for the smaller cuts to be possible. Reverse corner cutting is also pretty good. For most smaller corner cuts, it's pretty effortless. It can corner cut up to here, and then over here it stops. Most cubes obviously can't do that, so yeah, the reverse cutting is pretty good. Now let's get into the customization system. So if we take off the center cap, which I wish they didn't have the stupid center cap design, we have the normal MoYu dual adjustment system in here, which they've been using since the GTS3, which the only difference is that they made it purple in this version instead of, like, the blue that it normally has. I think the standard version and the Maglev version have different colors to these, so this is the purple one for this version, the Ballpoint version. Yeah, it basically, if you know what the dual adjustment system does, then you already know what it is. Like, you can use, like, a tool or your finger to adjust, like, the spring compression, like that, and you have the screw to adjust, like, the screw depth or axis distance. I'll link JPrim's video on how to customize a cube in the description, so you can check that out. And that's pretty much it for the customization system. There's no adjustable magnets, but what do you expect from a cheap cube? Okay, and what we have inside the cube is the ball core, or the corner-to-core magnets. And you can see here it's enclosed in a plastic ball, which is colored gold for some reason. And it is actually smaller than you expect it to be. And here is where the problems start. So if you look in the core here, you can see here that there are cracks on the core itself. I don't think that's affecting, like, the corner-to-core magnets in any way right now, but this was a problem early on with this cube, that people were getting, their cores were breaking. And if you actually saw the Cubicles video, the first sample they got from MoYu literally broke, and the other one also broke too. I'm pretty sure this is an older version, to where that they haven't actually fixed it yet, because I'm pretty sure this was from an older batch, because I got this off of Amazon. I think it has something to do with, like, how brittle gold colored plastic tends to be, but MoYu put it out as if that they use, like, different kind of glue, like a more corrosive kind of glue. I'll put the Cubicles video on that, like, down in the description there. I was thinking of, like, buying another cube to see if to get it fixed or whatever, but I honestly didn't want to spend another $20 on, like, trying to fix the cube. So yeah, and I guess I can tell it's doing something at least. So what difference does the corner-to-core magnets make? At least on my version. I think I've also been hearing it on like other people's versions. I think of the older batch versions, the corner to core magnets do not make a difference whatsoever for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because of like how strong of the magnets they've used, or if it's just that the core is breaking on this one. I looked at this cube's questions page on the cubicle, and it also says that even though that they fixed the durability, the corner to core magnets still don't really make a difference. Kind of just feels like a normal cube with normal magnets. Like, I don't feel like anything like it's guiding you towards the end of the turn, even though like on the Tornado V3 it kind of does it a little bit, even though it's like not as strong. Like, I can definitely notice it kind of like guides you to finishing the turn a little bit, like very little, but it's not as extreme as on the GAN cube. Interestingly, this cube was advertised as having an auto aligning system with these core magnets, as you can see here, and it does not do it. I can put it to like 30 degrees, it doesn't do it. The corner to core magnets don't actually make a difference on this whatsoever. So now that we have most things out of the way, let's do some solves and I guess tell my final thoughts on this. So I used it for about a month, and let's just talk about it. So basically, I'm in the middle between liking and not liking this cube. The size was kind of what put me off a bit on this cube. It says it's 56 millimeters, but it kind of feels bigger than that. It kind of feels bigger than the RS3M, which is also supposed to be 56 millimeters. So I have no idea which one is actually 56 millimeters. Now for the feel, I kind of don't really like it. Although it had like some nice sandy feel out of the box, and after lubing it kind of minimized it a bit. It kind of felt a bit blocky, although I didn't really feel it during solves. I kind of just don't like how it felt like a really cheaper cube compared to the RS3M, which although that had some like DNA of a cheaper cube, like it kind of felt like that a little bit. On the RS3M 2020, it didn't really feel like a cheaper cube. I feel like the sound of the Super RS3M kind of just screams cheap to me, at least, and in comparison to the RS3M 2020 sound, which kind of reminded me of the GTS3 after like watching, I think, Ram Takar's video on the GTS3. During solves, it was kind of okay. Although it felt a bit unstable, the cube was still doing the things I needed it to do. Like, the corner cutting was good enough to where if I misaligned it a bit, it wouldn't stop me from doing a turn. And I think especially if you're going to be doing a lot of ebb moves or whatever, you really need the corner cutting to be good, as if you misalign it, you're going to be doing a bunch of reverse corner cuts there. So yeah, the solving with it was fine, but I feel like I'm kind of conflicted between whether or not I like this cube or not. I didn't really mess that much with the customization system, although I did loosen the cube a bit. I feel like the maglev kind of makes the spring compression system a bit useless, because each center has two magnets placed on top of each other in basically a straight line. The progression of the settings is more exponential, and it makes the cube feel a bit weird when you're just customizing a bit. So I decided to just slightly slow it down with some lube instead. The matte finish on the cube kind of felt really weird to me in comparison to the RS3M, considering this one felt a bit more matte than the RS3M was, but I can definitely tell it's going away the more I use this cube. So that would probably not really be much of a problem if I continue doing solves on this. Would I recommend this cube? Probably not the specific version of the cube. I find that the corner core magnets don't really do anything whatsoever, and I would rather just recommend the standard version or the maglev version, or maybe just the RS3M 2020 itself, and probably do the core magnet upgrade on that cube. I don't really feel like it's that much of an upgrade to the RS3M 2020, and I feel like it's kind of a little bit worse in some ways than the RS3M 2020. I feel like most cubes at this point are really good, to the point where it's just personal preference on which cube is better for you. Like, if you want more customization, then like get the Tornado V3 or the GAN 13, although those are various different prices. Or if you just want the best cube that is really good, get the RS3M 2020. I don't really feel like this cube stands out that much whatsoever in comparison to the other cubes on the market right now. I feel like it's a lot more of a generic cube than most of the other cubes at this point. Like, there's just no glaring standout feature that it has that is, but I mean, it's a cheap cube, so what are you supposed to... Anyways, thank you all for watching, and be sure to check out my Instagram and my vlog channel, and I'll see you all next time.